What's good, everybody? It's your man Dale saying good morning. Good morning. How y'all doing out there? Happy Tuesday. Um, since the war began, I decided that I'm gonna try to jump on once a day in the morning and try to do kind of an update as to what's going on. So, when we cover serious stuff, we don't do the sound effects, we don't do the intro, outro. I just don't want to do it. This isn't this isn't playful. Like this is serious business. This is a war. It's an unnecessary war. And I just want to get some information out there so you guys get a quick update. I mean, it's tons of reporting on this. We all know so I just for our small community over here, I just want to throw some information out there, and uh, we're gonna try to do this every day as long as the war drags on. It might get to a point where we do it once a week, and then we'll just jump on when something crazy happens. But for now, we'll try to do every day. This is day 4, the Iran war with Israel. And America is just there because Israel has started this war to warrant this war. So, uh, things are definitely escalating. Right, we got it's expanding across the Middle East. The battlefronts are widening. We got diplomatic ripples throughout the world. Now Europe is really talking about what's going on. A lot of countries in NATO aren't happy. Just Trump did this without congressional approval, without talking to our allies, without talking to NATO, kind of forcing our allies to support us is kind of, or not. We'll see how that plays out. Right, there's definitely the economic shock to all this. We're going to get into that. Rising casualty counts. So yeah, man, let's just kind of get into this real quick. Just looking at Al Jazeera, just headlines. This is, today. U.S. Israel attack, Iran updates. Trump says war to last 4 to 5 weeks. A lot of people are trying to figure out what's going on, what's the plan, what's the mission, what are the objectives, how long this is going to take. So Trump is saying 4 to 5 weeks, but you look at other people in the administration saying other things. Hedgecliffe was saying, who is they call it Department of War now, but stupid Department of Defense, and he's the Secretary of Defense, and he's saying there is no timeline. We'll be there until it's done, but they won't tell you what that means. So 4 to 5 weeks. All right, U.S. Assembly in Riyadh was hit. So the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh was hit. Um, Israel seizes land in Lebanon. Wow, I didn't know that. Again, this is reporting from Al Jazeera. I'm just kind of looking at the headlines. CBS News is reporting U.S. death toll in Iran war rises to 6, as Trump says campaign could last 5 weeks. So those are just some of the headlines. This is it's not a lot of Americans out here who think that this is necessary, who think this is worth it. So lots going on. MAGA is definitely going to war with itself. A lot of people are really upset. Remember, this is supposed to be the peacetime president. This is the guy who's going to end wars. This dude is starting wars. Kind of reminds me of what Obi-Wan Kenobi was saying, screaming at, Anakin, who became Darth Vader. Like, you're supposed to bring balance to the sports, to the force. You're supposed to be the chosen one. I think that's how MAGA is looking at Trump. You're supposed to be the guy who's going to get us out of wars. You're supposed to be the guy who's going to make things more affordable for Americans. You're supposed to look out. The whole thing was America first, right? And they're looking at what's going on now, and they realize they got hoodwinked. Still, I don't understand. Like, when I talk to people who voted for Trump, they're like, man, I don't understand. Like, I do. What made you think the guy was going to do something different? What made you think that this dude was going to be in your corner? You don't have any money. Trump is motivated by money. So that's just my take on it. Let me know what y'all think. The conflict continues across multiple fronts. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran are ongoing, with military leaders warning that harder hits are still coming. Really. Iran has struck back with missiles and drones targeting U.S. forces and installations in the Gulf, and attacks on regional energy infrastructure persist. That's Al Jazeera. Like, Iran is just firing at everything, anyone and everyone. So that's what's going on. American and Iranian casualties are rising. On day 4, the U.S. death toll in the conflict has risen to at least 6 service members. We've lost 6 American service members so far, and many more have been wounded. Meanwhile, Iranian authorities report hundreds of fatalities from ongoing bombardments. Numbers still difficult to independently verify, but clearly rising. So, you look at the strikes we're conducting inside of Iran. Yeah. And one of the big things, one of the saddest things we saw, like on day 1, it was a school for girls that got hit. And a lot of young girls were lost in that bombing. People saying, well, those weren't US munitions, those were Israeli munitions. It doesn't matter. We're both in it. Doesn't matter who fired it. We're both in it. It's like being in a drive-by. Like, it wasn't nothing that came from my weapon. Yeah, but you in the car and everybody in the car is firing. So somebody in the car did it and y'all all together. So it doesn't really matter. So you got Middle East spillover, Hezbollah and Lebanon. So Hezbollah has really been getting down in this thing. The war is no longer strictly between Tehran and Washington, Tel Aviv. Iranian aligned group Hezbollah has launched sustained attacks on Israel from Lebanon. I mean, you had to expect it. You had to expect it. And Israeli forces has responded with airstrikes and ground operations in southern Lebanon. UN agencies say at least 30,000 people are now displaced inside Lebanon. And so there's photos of this and video of people just trying to get out of southern Lebanon. And it just, just cars, just miles and miles of cars just kind of stuck behind each other trying to get out of the danger area. That reporting came from Reuters. This is from The Guardian. Attacks on U.S. diplomatic missions. Iranian drones have hit U.S. diplomatic facilities in the region, including the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh. I've been to Riyadh. It's crazy. Causing damage and prompting evacuations. Advisories for American personnel. Several U.S. embassies in the Gulf and wider Middle East have been closed or reduced due to the threat environment. So, again, that's The Guardian. And if you go to the State Department website, it basically tells you if you're in the Middle East and you're American, you need to get out of there. Simple as that. Again, no real plan. Why didn't you pull these people out beforehand? I mean, it just shows to me that this administration has no idea what it's doing. They're thinking one thing and reality is something completely different. Global economic impact, air travel, and oil. This is the Times of India. Regional instability is affecting daily life across the Middle East. Major airlines like Saudia have extended flight cancellations across key cities through March 4th, and disruption to shipping in the Strait of Hormuz continues to send shockwaves through the oil market. The Iranians have basically said if anybody tries to move their ships through the strait, they're gonna light them on fire. They're gonna light them up. They already said that, and they can do it. I mean, they can do it. And this is where the boots on the ground thing comes into play, because once they start doing that, they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. I can never pronounce that properly. They shut down that strait. I mean, that's like 1/5 of the world's oil supply gets shut down. That's insane. That's insane. And if you want to stop the Iranians from firing on these ships that are in the strait, then you have to take the ground, you have to take the land around these pressure points, these bottlenecks, which means someone's boots going to have to be on the ground, either Israeli or American. Someone's going to have to put some boots on the ground. Going to be soldiers with weapons trying to push the Iranians away from the strait, but that still won't stop the drones and the rockets and the artillery. That's not going to stop the mines. All you got to do is drop mines out there, and you got to come and sweep the mines. This is going to affect the economy. There's no way around it. Again, they didn't plan for any of this. They thought we're just going to strike and we're going to delete a bunch of people, decapitate their leadership, and then the Iranians are just going to do what we say. I don't know. It baffles the mind. It baffles the mind. The Gulf states condemn Iran's attack. So you got the Gulf states, or saying that countries in the Gulf Cooperation Council, including the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and others, have joined in condemning Iranian missiles and drone strikes on their territories, citing violations of sovereignty and signaling deeper regional unity against de-escalation. So, against escalation, not de-escalation. So, no, Iran's neighbors are mad that Iran is firing on them. They want them to stop, but what are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? Like with these the Gulf Corporation, like what are they gonna do? They're gonna side with America and Israel. Iran's gonna continue to hit them. I mean, it just point blank period. Again, if you want to go into the Middle East and you want to fight a sustained campaign, you need a coalition. That's what both Bushes did. That's the only way to really go in there and handle this sort of thing. You need to get the other Arab states on board. You can't wait till after you start firing on people, you start this thing, and then you're gonna get people on board. It doesn't work that way. Again, failure to plan. Failure to plan. International diplomatic moves. This is from Reuters. France and China have agreed to work together to pursue de-escalation and a political solution, highlighting international concerns over the widening conflict and the risk of a broader regional war. So the rest of the world's looking at it. China's looking at it like, hey, man, let's slow this down. France is looking at it like, hey, let's slow this down. But at the same time, France is sending warships and warplanes into the region. So France is kind of playing the whole board, right? Kind of looking at both sides of this. But, China, what's China's interest? Why does China want this not to happen? Well, because they get their oil from the Middle East too. China's not trying to deal with this. China knows what this means. They can't get oil. It's just going to have to raise prices on everything. They know what's going on. And this whole thing is just ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Right? U.S. strategic posture and public messaging is all over the board, by the way. They don't have a message. I think the administration is trying to come up with a message. They're all trying to get behind one message now, but here we are 4 days in and they're still struggling to have a message. President Trump, who has not ruled out a prolonged campaign lasting more than 4 or 5 weeks, also won't rule out sending ground forces if deemed necessary. Meanwhile, the State Department continues urging American citizens to depart the region due to increasing threats to civilian life. And again, if Iran, the whole thing is Iran could hit us here in America. And you can see now that Iran cannot hit us here in America. They can hit the Israelis, but they can't hit us. Right? They can hit the Saudis, right? They can hit every country in the region, but they can't hit us. That was the whole reason we went over there, right? Clearly they can't hit us. And Trump keeps saying it's going to be a couple of days. It's going to be a few weeks. It might be longer. Might be longer. And this thing, this is going to drag out, guys. This is going to drag out. And for what? Like, for what? We've already lost 6 service members. We're going to lose more. We've lost 3 F-15s. 3 F-15s at $100 million a pop. How long before we lose some naval assets? How long before we lose one of our ships? Or at least one of our ships get really wrecked? Numbers to watch. Right? U.S. service members deleted, KIA'd in this thing, 6. That's by CBS. That's a CBS News reporting that, with more reported wounded. So every time those drones fall, those missiles impact. I mean, they're American service members right there. Displaced civilians in Lebanon, 30,000 plus, according to Reuters. 30,000 plus displaced people in Lebanon trying to get out of southern Lebanon trying to get to safety. 30,000 plus. Regional diplomatic tensions are rising across multiple Gulf states. Flights, of course, have been suspended through multiple Middle Eastern hubs. So, of course, it's kind of hard to fly your passenger jet in a war zone. That's not something you want to do. And what are we watching for? further retaliation by Iran against the U.S. and the U.S. allies. Right, we're looking for how Gulf states maneuver politically and militarily. You got Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia might make some military moves against Iran, stuff like that. We'll see how this plays out. Still have to wait and see what Turkey's going to do in the midst of all this. Global oil prices and ship out disruptions. Insurance companies have already raised the insurance on these ships, which means that cost is going to be passed along to the end consumer, right? So people who buy gas are going to be paying more for gas. Simple as that. It's going to cost more to get those boats, those ships in and out of there, if they can get in and out of there at all. Possible new fronts opening in Syria or Iraq. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. I don't know what that would look like. Again, how long before we put boots on the ground? How long before American soldiers and Marines are on the ground doing what they do? Be on the lookout for diplomatic efforts at the UN and from China / Europe. Right. So this whole thing, man. So basically all that's going on is day 4 is just drones and missiles are still being exchanged from, U.S. / Israeli forces and Iranian forces. And the Iranians are hitting everybody in the region. Everyone in the region is suffering. So that's where we are. America, especially MAGA, up in arms about this. One person who's really pissed off about all this, here she is right here, Marjorie Taylor Greene. She was on Megyn Kelly's show yesterday, man. I don't know if you guys saw this, but I'm going to let this play all the way out. You have to hear what Marjorie Taylor Greene has to say about all this. Remember how hardcore MAGA she was or is or whatever. Pay attention to what she's saying. Listen to this. Listen to what she's about to say here. Because it's absolutely insane what she's about to say here. I'm gonna let this play all the way through, man. Just so you guys know, we got Cody's in the building. What's good, bro? How you feeling, man? See, both of them are slow, but both of them are pissed. Right? Marjorie Taylor Greene is really mad right now, man. So we're gonna listen to this whole thing. I'm not gonna stop it. I just wanted to play it all the way through. So check this out. Saying Megyn is a traitor. Traitor to who? You look at what's going on with MAGA, you look at what's going on with America. People keep telling me, like, oh, Donald Trump still has support. I'm like, does he? Does he? Pay attention to Marjorie Taylor Greene's posture, man, and her passion, man. So let's check this out. Here we go.
I think that just like our media has been nothing but propaganda for as long as you and I can remember, I think social media has turned into the same thing. What I do know is most Americans, that's being and bullying that's coming out, most Americans are completely against this war because like lives, and we don't feel threatened by Iran. We don't walk around thinking that in any moment an Iranian ballistic missile is going to land on our head. We don't. Here's what Americans, and I want to read off this list. This is what Americans are focused on. 72% of Americans have health insurance. 58% can't afford car insurance. 67% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 31% of Americans can't afford their back taxes. 50% of Americans are in credit card debt, massive credit card debt. That's where we are in America. And I campaigned with the president. As a matter of fact, I was one of the only Republicans that was out there for Donald Trump when the rest of the neocons, by the way, that are just cheering him and were trying to him in a primary and stop him from being president again. I was out there on the front lines for Make America Great Again. And Make America Great Again was supposed to be America first, not Israel first, not any foreign country first, not any foreign people first, but the American people first in our problems. And God bless the Iranian people. I hope to God that they can have a government that is for them and that treats women fairly. But what we have seen happen right now is we have seen over 100 little girls killed at a school from a bomb. And I don't know whose bomb it was, but they're dead today because America and Israel attacked Iran. So that's not really good for Iranian women. And our president is saying that the Iranian people are all of a sudden going to topple their regime. Well, I don't think the Iranian people are going to be toppling their regime when they're getting blown apart by the United States and Israel in an unprovoked attack. And yes, it was unprovoked. And Pete Hegseth said this morning, Megan, he said that we didn't start this war. But I hate to argue with the Secretary of the Department of War. America and Israel definitely started this war, and you can't lie that away to the American people. And so, you know how I feel right now? I am irate. I am furious about this. We are nearly $40 trillion in debt. How much is this war going to cost us? We have seen enough of our American troops dead and murdered for foreign countries. And now we've had 4 dead and murdered, just like you said, for Israel and for the Iranian people, not for the American people. And I don't want to see any more dead and murdered. Our military is filled with some of the greatest people from our country. And God bless their families who are probably losing their minds right now, terrified that their son or daughter or their husband or wife or brother or sister may come home in a flag-draped coffin. And then we have the president who, by the way, Megan, this really needs to be said. Donald Trump has said repeatedly on camera and in interviews, he doesn't think he's going to heaven. Well, I want to ask a question, a serious question. What is in his mind? What is his mental state? If he doesn't think he's going to heaven and he is a man towards the end, he's in the 4th quarter, he's towards the end of his life. How does that pan out for the rest of us when we have a president of the United States who doesn't think and is convinced he's not going to heaven? What does that mean his decision making is? He already said to the New York Post today that he doesn't care about the polling. He doesn't care about what the American people think, and he may put troops on the ground. He took this is going to be a few-day war, to now it's going to be maybe 4 weeks or more. I want to say, what is happening to the man that I supported, you supported, the man that denounced what happened in Iraq, the man that said no more foreign wars, no more regime change, promised it on the campaign. J.D. Vance promised it. Tulsi Gabbard promised it. All of them promised it. And we're a year in, and we're in another fucking war, and we've got American troops being killed. I think it's time for America to rip the Band-Aid off, and we need to have a serious conversation about what the fuck is happening to this country and who in the hell are these decisions being made for, and who is making these decisions.
Mm-hmm. The president on the heaven thing has said he was being cheeky about that he actually doesn't have worries. But I understand your greater point. Who is making the decisions? Because the President Trump that was talking to us about going in and, we're going to, the Iranian people, they're going to thank me, I did you a favor. I made you a promise and I lived up to it. He was talking to the Iranian people, not the American people. Yeah. I made you a promise and I lived up. What do you mean? They didn't vote for you.
That's right.
They weren't on the campaign trail for you.
Nope.
We're the ones who are putting our best and bravest at risk right now. And he says the Iranian people it's up to them to now sort of take the baton and like install new leadership. They have no guns. They're sheltering in place because we're bombing their country right now. How are they what is the plan for them to then take the baton and install a new leader? Mm-hmm. How are they going to do that with the IRGC still intact and they're still being Iranian leaders? Not everybody was wiped out. And his comments to the press today seem to be, they're going to lay down their arms and join with the Iranian patriots.
No, they're not.
Based on what? Yeah. Based on what? So if that doesn't happen willingly, just by the grace of God, okay, we're going to do it, then we are going to have to do it, or Israel's going to have to do it. And the more Israel fights, the more we have to fight, MTG, because that's what got us into this mess to begin with. We saw they were going to head and do it, and we felt like we had no choice because they were going to attack our bases first thing as soon as Israel did it.
That's right. No, you're absolutely right. And I heard an analyst say today that okay, we've killed approximately maybe 40 or more of their top leadership and the Ayatollah. Well, guess what? The cleric ruling class is about 50,000 deep in their government. Are we going to kill all 50,000 of them before they can bring a new government in? And while this is happening, Megan, we're bombing them. We are bombing them and killing their people and destroying their buildings and wreaking havoc on their entire ability to function in daily life. Do we really think these people are going to be saying, oh, thank you, America, thank you, God bless you? We're killing them and killing their children. So I think we're radicalizing a whole new generation of Iranians.
That's what I worry about too.
That don't remember, like me and you, we don't remember. We were kids when the last regime was taken out and this new regime was put in. And I think this whole thing is not what we voted for, Megan. It is absolutely America last. It's the same bullshit we've seen for decades now. And I don't think the president is being tongue in cheek. I know that man very well. And he repeatedly says he's not going to heaven, the same way he repeatedly says that what do you think? Should I run for president again? I think that started out as we could take it as a joke, but I don't think he's joking. And I know you're not willing to go there, but I am. I really want to know, what is his mental state and who is he doing this for? Because it's not for the American people. He's lying. He's gone back on what he promised. No more foreign wars, no more regime change. And I want to know, where the hell is JD Vance? They're turning back on the same words they said. It's all on video. All of them are on video saying it, just like I'm on video saying no more foreign wars, no more regime change. I'm on video on campaign stages and at Trump rallies saying the exact same thing. But where's JD and where's Tulsi? And the president. Well,
I'm sure behind the scenes, at least JD has worked to stop this, but he's lost. I mean, that's
he's got to say
what's obvious now is any detractor. The same way Tucker went in and tried to talk Trump out of this, and he lost and admitted the Mark Levins of the world have won.
Yep.
I mean, Mark Levin and Lindsey Graham, forgive me, spent the entire weekend with a massive hard-on. There's just you could see it in the commentary. They were thrilled. They were gleeful. I mean, they were just overly excited at the fact that we were now risking American troops' lives for Israel. And what does Lindsey Graham do to go out there and quell anybody's concerns that that's what we're doing? He just keeps doubling down. And now he's mentioning Cuba. Hold on. Do we have that? Yes. Here he is on FNC Sunday night. This is SOT 16.
Is President Trump finished the job that President Reagan failed to do? I am a big admirer of Ronald Reagan, but I'm here to tell you that Donald Trump, in my opinion, is the gold standard for Republicans, maybe any president when it comes to foreign policy. Maduro, everybody talked about him. Well, Donald Trump's got him in jail. Cuba's next. They're going to fall. This communist dictatorship in Cuba, their days are numbered. The Iranian regime, the mothership of international terrorism, is about to collapse. The captain of the ship, the Ayatollah, is stone cold dead.
Cuba's next, they're going to fall. This is after Trump on Friday. We played this bite on our show on Friday, saying maybe we'll have a friendly takeover of Cuba, which we don't know what that means. But now they're talking about Cuba. And let me just give you one more, MTG. The former prime minister of Israel, Naftali Bennett, was at the Conference of Presidents of Major American Jewish Organizations in Jerusalem on February 17th. And listen to what he said then. SOT 20.
A new Turkish threat is emerging. I want to be very clear. Turkey and Qatar have gained influence in Syria, are seeking influence elsewhere and everywhere throughout the region. And from here, I warn, Turkey is the new Iran. Erdogan is sophisticated, dangerous, and he seeks to encircle Israel. And while some senior Israelis were on Qatar's payroll, Qatar and Turkey are nourishing the Islamic Brotherhood monster that is growing and eventually might become as dangerous as the one created by Iran. Turkey and Qatar are gaining influence not only in Syria, but also in Gaza, through the front door, and everywhere, and trying to create a new choke rink. Turkey is trying to flip Saudi Arabia against us and establish a hostile Sunni axis with nuclear Pakistan.
So where does it end?
I shared that on my social media as well. I think Israel, and I'm talking about the government of Israel, I think these people They literally are trying to start World War III. It's completely out of control. It will never end. No, war will continue when Israel is pushing the United States and demanding that we wage war with them. It will continue as long as we're alive. It will never end. And Lindsey Graham, I saw a video of him this morning, and he was choking back tears, swallowing back tears, because he was saying he was so proud of President Trump for declaring war and going to war with Iran. He wasn't choking back tears for the American military members that have been killed and their families who are mourning their deaths right now. He's choking back tears because he's so happy about war. Megan, I can remember on a campaign stage in Lindsey Graham's home county, where he was born and went to elementary school, where he's from. I stood on that stage and spoke before him, and I said, no more foreign wars, no more regime change. And I said, we're going to end the war in Ukraine. The crowd went nuts, thousands of people. Then Lindsey Graham came out right behind me and spoke right after me, and they booed him for 10 minutes on stage. That was a little over, I think it was about a year and a half ago. It was during the campaign. They booed him in his home county for 10 minutes straight. But when you watch a video like that from the former prime minister of Israel, all I can think about is the military-industrial complex. Those guys are lighting up their cigars, drinking their whiskey, and patting each other on the back, because all they can think about is how much money they're going to make off the American taxpayers, making bombs, building new aircraft, building new drones, and building all kinds of military equipment just to kill people all over the world. While the American people, all they want is to be able to fucking afford a house, afford health insurance, and be able to maybe live the dream like the baby boomers did, and live a family that can live on a single family income and not have both parents working themselves to death, so their children have to live in daycare and grow up in daycare. And that's the reality that we're in, Megan.
Yo, that was Marjorie Taylor Greene on Megan Fox's show, tearing down Donald Trump. Did y'all peep that? It's time for America part when she said it's time for America to rip off the Band-Aid. Who's the Band-Aid? Right? Who's the Band-Aid? I think she's talking about Donald Trump. Rip off the Band-Aid. Y'all feel passion? She's right. They talk about America first. Meanwhile, Americans are losing their homes. They're in danger of losing their homes. They're losing their car. They can't afford health care. That big, beautiful bill bullshit took away their health care. You got a whole bunch of MAGA people, working poor, underemployed, like we were talking about yesterday, that are out here scratching their heads wondering what happened. Now, y'all didn't think it through. That's what happened. Now, here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When you look at the political picture moving forward, Marjorie Taylor Greene can make a run at the White House in 2028, and it will be a legit run. A legit run. Like, Marjorie Taylor Greene will have the Democrats worried, because she can pull a lot of independents and she can pull moderate, Americans. Because when you listen to it, it's one thing. It's like, all right, of all the candidates who are going to be running for president of the United States, they're all been in politics. You want to talk about the swamp and all that kind of stuff. Marjorie Taylor Greene would be the only one. It's like, I would pull out our soldiers tomorrow. Like, we're coming out of Iran tomorrow. I can care less about the Middle East. I can care less about Ukraine. Ukrainians are on their own. I can see her doing that. I can see her using the executive branch to try to help Americans. And I mean, I don't know. Is she bought and paid for? And she's like the sleeper agent, and she's just waiting to be that option. You know what I mean? So does the 1% owner? Man, I don't know. But you listen to her. Like, right now, she's out of politics. She stepped down. She left. Why did she leave D.C.? One of the most powerful Republicans in the House. Why did she walk away? What's going on? What did they threaten her with? What were they trying to get her to do that she outright refused to do? Remember, she led the charge of the Epstein files. That was her. Obart, a couple others, and working with the Democrats. So when you hear someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene talk about America first, American people above all others, I mean, you kind of got to believe her. I mean, because I'm thinking like, man, if she's bought and paid for, why would she leave? Is she setting herself up for a Senate run? I don't know, man. Y'all let me know. You know, Mandrell's in the building. What's good, Mandrell? Good to see you. Dusto's in the building. Yeah, it is definitely, when it comes to Trump, it's about money. When it comes to Trump, it's about money. Hey, man, like, yeah, yeah, YouTube's watching you, man. Because yesterday I was put something in my own chat and they censored me. It's my chat. They wouldn't let me put something in my own chat. You know what I mean? YouTube is definitely watching. But politically, the right is splintered. Like, you're gonna have, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 22%. I'm just making up numbers on the right that back Trump. Maybe 20 up to 25%. Let's say up to 25% of the voting population will back Trump. That means the rest are against Trump, including prominent Republicans and MAGA Republicans. Trump understands that. I think Donald Trump right now is just going for broke. Just pay him whatever you want to pay him. He's going to do whatever you want done, up to and including, starting wars in the Middle East, which is the dumbest thing. And again, maybe he really thought that we'll just march in there and we'll do these strikes and we'll hit their leadership, and these people, the Iranian people, will just get in line. I mean, it just shows the ignorance, the level of ignorance surrounding this administration, surrounding that president. You're gonna just refuse to listen to the warriors from the Pentagon, because I'm pretty sure they send up the reports. You must be out of your mind. And then just come in front of the American people and try to lie, and you got Republicans calling him out. Like, come on, that's a lie. Hedge Clay was like, oh yeah, we did not strike first. We didn't start this. Like, yes, you did. 100% started this. 100%. And they'll say, no, we got to go all the way back to 1978, 79. This is when they started it back then. Like, man, stop it. Stop it. He doesn't know anything about that conflict. I'm pretty sure he failed that in history class. But I'm telling you, man, this is huge for America. America has no taste for this particular war. They don't have a stomach for it. They don't want to deal with it. We've already lost 6 service members. We're gonna lose more. We got lucky. The friendly fire event yesterday, when we lost 3 F-15s, those crews were able to eject and they survived. They could have just as easily not have survived that. Yeah, the Trump administration is a wrap. It's definitely a wrap. So, I mean, if Trump is going to try to get that third term he was joking about, it's going to involve some sort of martial law or some sort of suppression of the Constitution. And if that happens, I'm telling you, man, it's the people on the right, that was going to be working hand in hand with the people on the left. It's going to be protests, going to be all kind of crazy stuff going on. And I'm curious to see how that will play out. How would that play out? I mean, we already know what underskilled and undertrained federal agents will do. We just look at what happened in Minneapolis. But if it happens in November, we're going to try to suppress the vote. We're going to try to declare martial law or something. We're going to try to take the vote away from the American people. What would the American people do? I wonder. What would the American people do? So anyway, that's the update. That's all we have, man. That's the update. I wanted you guys to hear Marjorie Taylor Greene. I didn't want to interrupt that at all. That's on Megan's show, Megyn Kelly's show. Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's on the warpath, bro. Like, she really cares about the people of America. Like, she gets it. Now, I don't know if this is some sort of play. I don't know if she has 1% money backing her. I don't know. But she's come out swinging now. And Trump is going to have to reach out to her and try to calm her down. He ain't going to be able to do it. You got people in Louisiana, fishermen, who can't even fish no more because all the corporate interests that are down there just tearing up the rivers, tearing up the waterways under the Trump administration. Trump undid what Biden was doing to regulate that all over natural gas exports. Right? You got people in America who are suffering. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene said, people can't afford their rent. They can't afford their mortgage. They can't afford their car. They can't afford their car insurance. They can't afford utilities. Very, very cold winter. You know, it got cold down here in Florida. Got cold down here. So I know it was cold up in the Midwest and in the Northeast. Energy bills are going up. We're paying more to put gas in our car. We're paying more to insure our assets or really expensive liabilities like our cars. People can't afford to get sick. People are getting laid off. People are getting dozed. I'm telling you, the 2020s, this midterm in November is going to be eye-opening. You guys wait and see. It's going to be eye-opening. Now, what could happen between now and November? Could have some sort of sleeper cell activity when we get like increased terror activity. And here's another thing too. I don't know if you guys realize this. I didn't. I was watching Rachel Maddow, which I normally don't watch. I haven't watched Rachel Maddow in years. I just happened to, it was in the queue. I'm like, let me see what she's talking about. I did not realize that Kash Patel has fired FBI agents who are in a special department who are tasked with counterintelligence, counterinsurgency type stuff. It's like a special department in the FBI that's their sole purpose is to find domestic terrorism and stop domestic terrorism attacks before they happen. And apparently they've been doing a really good job. I think it's DI-11. I think that's the name of the department. Kash Patel fired a bunch of dudes, bunch of people who worked in that department, people who've been doing their job, getting it right. He fired a bunch of them days before the war started. So the people who've been tracking the bad guys, trying to find the sleeper cells, they're gone now. They're gone. Right at the time when Iran is doing everything they can to strike America. They can't send missiles over here, so they got people, they got human missiles over here. And all they got to do is activate them. And Kash Patel has fired the people at the FBI who are competent and out here getting the job done. He fired them. When you look at the people surrounding Donald Trump, when you look at this administration, it is a train wreck. And Trump ain't trying to replace none of them. So Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, my bad. I always say his name. I always pronounce his name wrong, but I don't care. You got these people who are completely incompetent, just running amok. You know, they're playing government. They're playing dress up at a time when we need our government to be squared away. We're going to feel the effects of all this, guys, real soon. Real soon. Watch what I tell you. So yeah, it's definitely going to be, I mean, even the Republicans know it. I think you're going to see more Republicans, especially MAGA Republicans, stepping forward and speaking out against the current administration. They're going to do what Marjorie Taylor Greene just did on Megyn Kelly's show last night. They're going to get vocal. They're going to demand stuff. They're going to work with the Democrats. So when I tell you, when this election happens in November, if this election happens, Democrats and Republicans are going to move to remove Donald Trump, not just Donald Trump, but his entire administration. You watch. You watch. I don't see this guy getting to the end of his term. I don't see him making it to 2028. They're going to come get him, even if they just got to work with the states. Because everyone's like, well, he has partnering power. Yeah, he can pardon himself for all federal crimes, but he can't pardon himself for state crimes. And the one here in Florida, especially the secret documents case out of Miami. Yeah, bro, he's guilty. 100%. They got the goods on him. And they're like, well, you know, it's the Justice Department ain't going to do anything with it. Well, at the state level, they can do something. At the state level, they can do something. Those crimes were committed here in Florida, so they can do something. You know, the state and the feds normally work hand in hand, but they don't have to always work hand in hand. And then you got all that Epstein stuff. That could, you know, all that stuff can be tried at the state level and get everyone who has a federal pardon. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You're right about that, man. The first thing I did was look it up. I saw it on Rachel Maddow's show. First thing I did was look it up. Like, this can't be true. This cannot be true. It's true. I looked it up, man. You can look it up too, bro. It's true. It's been widely reported, man. He did it. This is something that Cash Patel did. Just the first thing I looked up, bro. I was like, no way, this is true. It's true. He did it. It ain't fake. I looked it up. It is actual factual reporting on that. He did do that. And they are gone. I mean, it doesn't, who knows what's going on? I'm pretty sure someone got on the phone like, yo, we need y'all back, man. This war just popped out. Please come back. Help us, help us try to stop some of the attacks that we know are coming. Something like that may happen. Maybe they bring them back as contractors and pay them a ton of money, so they wind up making more money out of all this thing. But I mean, it's crazy. It's just the Trump administration is so incompetent, bro. You can see it through their actions, man. It's just the worst cabinet we've ever had, probably in the history of America. They're just pathetic, man. He'll be pardoned 3 minutes later. Now at the state level, he won't. That at the state level. After 2026, man, not especially in Florida, but you might see a Democratic governor down here in Florida. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. You might see it. Look at what's going on in Texas. Look at what's going on in Texas. The Democrats are gaining ground and taking seats in deep, deep MAGA red districts in Texas. Republicans are worried. The Republicans are worried. So anyway, that's it. That's all we got with that, guys. That's the update for today. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll do another update. We'll do a day 4. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on the political stuff. Marjorie Taylor Greene might become the leader of some new push, the new MAGA, whatever they're gonna call it. I think she really wants to help. I think she really wants to help Americans. She understands Americans are struggling. I think she really wants to get America back to a point where you can go get a job and you can have medical insurance and you can pay your bills. And, if you want one of the parents to stay home with the kids, they can do that. It's going to take generations, I think, to get back to that. But maybe it's possible. I don't know. But she's the one vocalizing it. No one else is talking about it for real. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, man, I saw it, bro. I saw it. Rachel Maddow, don't get it twisted. I'm not going to be watching her on a regular basis, but I saw it. I looked it up. I'm like, man, that cannot be true. It looks like it is. And Cash Patel is an idiot, bro. He shouldn't be in this position. He should not be in this position. It's another story out there. Reporters are looking into misappropriation of government funds. Cash Patel has an elite FBI SWAT team type group providing security services for his girlfriend. They're looking into that. That appears to be true. And if that's true, that should be enough right there to get rid of him. I mean, like I said, man, it's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a head, bro. This administration is out of control. I can see Republicans and Democrats coming together after this 2026 election to make a move on Donald Trump. And they will. Mark my words on this one. They will remove that guy and his administration and do everything they can to lock him up. This is going to change everything moving forward. Lock up. He'll be the first president to get locked up, but he sure won't be the last. It changes the game. But watch. Yeah, Elon is saying everybody's going to be rich. What does he mean by rich? So Elon talking about pulling out, like I said, you could take 75% of Elon Musk's wealth right now. He'll still be worth north of $200 billion. You could take 75% of his net worth right now. Just take it away. 75% haircut. And he's still worth $200 billion. So yeah, how's everybody going to be rich, bro? We can all just retire, kick our feet up, right? I guess all the robots going to be doing all the work. Anyway, that's it. That's all I got. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. I'm going to definitely try to do these updates. Day 4, it will be day 5 tomorrow. Update. I'm trying to get these between 9 and like 10:30 in the morning. I'm going to try to do these in the morning. Again, it won't be any sound effects or anything like that. We're just going to put the information out there and share what we have. I'll be back this evening. We'll talk about some red pill stuff. Maybe we'll talk about the foreclosures. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about the foreclosures. That's what we'll do. I'll come back tonight. We'll talk about foreclosures. It's Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll talk some red pill stuff. But it's crazy what's going on. It's crazy what's going on, man. And no, and don't and last thing I want to say, bro, to everybody listening, they're not gonna let the Epstein file thing go. They're gonna keep pushing until all those names get redacted. They're gonna figure out who did what, and then they're gonna figure out if there's a way that they can arrest these guys. I think most of it occurred, and I think it's beyond the statute of limitations. But they got Cosby, they got Sean Diddy Combs, so I think they'll get these dudes for what they did to those poor young women, those poor young girls. It's terrible, terrible. So we shall see. We shall see. That's it. I gotta go. I'm a holler at y'all, man. Thanks for rocking out with me. I'm DL Saint. This is the I Really Want to Know podcast. We're just doing our daily update on the Iran, Israel, America war. I'll be back later on this evening. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.